time, we're presenting Self-Knowledge, a series of 14 lectures by the unique teacher and worldwide lecturer J. Krishnamurti, who invites you to confront inner reality and thus find a richer life. The topic for today is Beliefs Seeking. These lectures were recorded at Ojai in 1949. And here is Krishnamurti and Self-Knowledge.
We were discussing last Sunday and Saturday the importance of self-knowledge. Because as I explained, I do not see how we have any foundation for right thinking without self-knowledge. How any action, however inclusive, however collective or individual it might be, there is no possibility of a harmonious and true action without knowing fully oneself. Without knowing oneself, there is no possibility of really searching out what is true, what is significant, what are the right values in life. Without self-knowledge, we cannot go beyond the self-projected illusions of the mind. Without self-knowledge, as we explained, in which is implied not only the action of relationship between the individual and another individual, but also the action of relationship with society, cannot bring about a complete, harmonious society without this knowledge. And so it is really very important and significant that one should know oneself as completely and as fully as possible. And is this knowledge possible? Can one know oneself integrally, not partially? The total process of oneself. Because as I said, without knowing, one has no basis for thinking. One gets caught in illusions, political, religious, social illusions that are limitless, endless. And is it possible to know oneself? And how is it possible to know? What are the means? What are the ways? What are the processes? I think to find out what are the ways, one must find out first, mustn't one, what are the impediments? And by studying what we take as important in life, which we have accepted, the values, the standards, the beliefs, the innumerable things that we have accepted and do accept, and by examining them, perhaps we shall find out the ways of our own thinking and thereby know ourselves. That is, by understanding the things that we accept and revaluing them, questioning them, going into them. In that very process we shall know the ways of our own thinking, our own responses, our reactions. And through them we shall know ourselves as we are. Surely that's the only way we can find out the way of our thinking, the responses. Only by studying, going into fully, into the values, into the standards, into the beliefs that we have accepted for generations. And seeing behind these values, we shall know how we respond, what are our reactions to them, and thereby perhaps we shall be able to uncover the ways of our own thinking. In other words, to know oneself surely is to study the responses, the reactions that one has in relation to something. One cannot know oneself through isolation. That's an obvious fact. And it's only in relationship that one can know oneself as one is. So perhaps by studying the things that we have accepted, by going into them fully, not superficially, then perhaps we shall be able to understand ourselves. Now, one of the things that seems to me that most of us so eagerly accept and take for granted is the question of belief. I am not attacking beliefs. What we are trying to do this evening is to find out why the mind, why we accept beliefs. And by perhaps understanding the motives, the causation of acceptance, then we may be able to not only understand why we do it, but also be free of them. Because one can see obviously how political beliefs and religious beliefs, national and various types of beliefs, do separate people, does create conflict, confusion and antagonism, which is an obvious fact, and yet we are unwilling to give them up. There are the Hindu beliefs, the Christian beliefs, and the Buddhist and innumerable sectarian national beliefs, various political ideologies, all contending with each other, trying to convert each other. And obviously, one can see that belief is separating people, creating intolerance. And is it possible to live without belief? One can only find that out if one can study oneself in relationship to a belief. Is it possible to live in this world without a belief? Not change beliefs, not substitute one belief for another, but to be entirely free from all beliefs so that you meet life anew each minute, which is after all the truth. To have the capacity of meeting everything anew without the past conditioning reaction from moment to moment, so that there is not the cumulative effect which acts as a barrier between oneself and that which is. Obviously, most of us accept or take on beliefs because first there is fear. Because we feel that without a belief we shall be lost. Then we use belief as a means of conduct, as a pattern, according to which we direct our lives. And also we think that through belief there can be a collective action. So in other words, for action, we think belief is necessary. And is that so? Is belief necessary for action? That is belief being an idea, is ideation necessary for action? Which comes first, an idea or an action? Surely action, then either is pleasurable or painful, and according to that we build up various theories, and then from that proceed to act. Therefore action comes first, surely, does it not? Or invariably. And when there is fear, when there is the desire to collect many in order to act, then the ideation comes in. Now if one considers this, you will see that the desire to accept a belief, as I said, one of the reasons is fear. Because if we had no belief, what would happen to us? Wouldn't we be very frightened of what is going to happen? If we had no pattern of action based on a belief, either in God or in communism or in socialism or in imperialism or in some kind of religious formula or dogma in which we are conditioned, we would feel utterly lost, wouldn't we? And is not this acceptance of a belief the covering up of that fear, the fear to be really nothing, to be empty? After all, a cup is only useful when it's empty. And a mind that is filled with beliefs, with dogmas, with assertions, with quotations, is really an uncreative mind. It's merely a repetitive mind. And to escape from that fear of emptiness, that fear of loneliness, that fear of stagnation,